A dangerous game imagining war between Israel and Iran. For decades, tensions have simmered between Israel and Iran. The possibility of open warfare, while frightening, demands serious analysis. Such a conflict would be a tragedy with global repercussions. Understanding the potential course of such a war is crucial, even if we hope it never happens. The stakes are incredibly high. Both nations possess advanced weaponry and deep ideological convictions. The outcome of such a war is impossible to predict with certainty. However, by examining key factors, we can gain some insight into this dangerous, hypothetical scenario. This analysis is not about glorifying war. Instead, it aims to highlight the devastating consequences of such a conflict and emphasize the urgent need for peaceful solutions. The future depends on our ability to understand and navigate these complex geopolitical realities. Military muscles comparing arsenals. Israel boasts a technologically advanced military with a proven track record. Its air force is considered one of the most capable in the world. Israel also possesses a formidable nuclear arsenal, though its exact size remains a secret. Cyber warfare capabilities add another layer to Israel's military strength. Iran's military is large but relies heavily on older equipment. It has invested heavily in ballistic missiles and drone technology. Iran has a large and experienced ground force, but its navy is less formidable, especially against Israel's. Iran lacks nuclear weapons, but has a robust nuclear program. While Israel holds a qualitative edge in military technology, Iran's sheer size and asymmetric capabilities cannot be underestimated. Any conflict would likely involve a combination of conventional and unconventional warfare tactics. Friends in need, alliances and their impact. Israel enjoys strong military and political support from the United States. This alliance provides access to advanced weaponry, intelligence sharing, and potential military intervention. The US considers Israel a key ally in a volatile region. Iran, on the other hand, has fewer traditional allies. It maintains close ties with Syria and the Hezbollah militia in Lebanon. Russia also provides some military and diplomatic support. However, these alliances are less formal and reliable than Israel's. The role of these alliances would be crucial in shaping the course of a war. Direct US involvement could tip the scales decisively in Israel's favor. However, it could also escalate the conflict and draw in other regional and global powers. Battleground: the role of geography. Geography plays a significant role in any potential conflict. Israel is a small country surrounded by potential adversaries. It lacks strategic depth, making it vulnerable to missile attacks. However, its well-defended borders and advanced missile defense systems provide some protection. Iran is a much larger country with a mountainous terrain that offers natural defenses. However, its critical infrastructure is concentrated in a few key areas, making it vulnerable to airstrikes. The distance between the two countries also poses logistical challenges for any direct military engagement. The geographic factors suggest that a war would likely involve long-range missile strikes and cyber attacks. A ground invasion by either side is highly unlikely. The conflict would also likely spill over into neighboring countries, further destabilizing the region. Section 5. Economic fallout, the price of conflict. Both Israel and Iran would suffer significant economic consequences from a prolonged war. Israel's economy is highly developed but reliant on global trade. A war would disrupt trade routes and damage investor confidence, potentially leading to a recession. Iran's economy is already struggling under the weight of international sanctions. A war would exacerbate these problems and further isolate Iran from the global economy. The destruction of infrastructure and loss of life would have long-term economic consequences. The economic fallout of a war would not be limited to the two countries directly involved. Global energy markets would be severely impacted, as Iran is a major oil producer. The conflict could also trigger a global recession, affecting businesses and consumers worldwide. Section 6. The People's Voice: Public Opinion and International Response. Public opinion in both Israel and Iran is divided on the issue of war. While some hardliners may support military action, Many citizens understand the devastating consequences of such a conflict. Public opinion could influence the willingness of governments to engage in or escalate a war. The international community would likely condemn any outbreak of hostilities. The United Nations Security Council would call for a ceasefire and a peaceful resolution. However, the effectiveness of such appeals would depend on the unity of the international community and the willingness of the warring parties to listen. Public opinion and international pressure could play a crucial role in mitigating the worst excesses of war. However, it is important to note that governments do not always act in accordance with public sentiment, especially in times of crisis. Section 7. Predicting the unpredictable. The fog of war. Predicting the outcome of a hypothetical war between Israel and Iran is a complex and uncertain task. Too many variables are at play, and even small events can have unforeseen consequences. The fog of war can obscure rational judgment and lead to unintended escalation. While Israel may have a military advantage on paper, Iran's asymmetric capabilities and the potential involvement of its allies could change the course of the conflict. The duration of the war would also be a crucial factor, as a protracted conflict could favor Iran's strategy of attrition. Ultimately, the outcome of such a war would depend on a complex interplay of military strategy, political calculations, and sheer luck. Any prediction would be highly speculative and subject to a wide margin of error. Section 8. Choosing peace, a plea for diplomacy. The potential consequences of a war between Israel and Iran are too grave to ignore. The human cost, economic devastation, and risk of regional destabilization make such a conflict unthinkable. Diplomacy, however difficult, remains the only viable path forward. Both sides must prioritize dialogue and de-escalation. International pressure can play a constructive role in facilitating negotiations and confidence-building measures. Addressing the root causes of the conflict, such as Iran's nuclear program and regional proxy wars, is essential. The future of the Middle East, and indeed the world, depends on our collective wisdom to choose peace over conflict. Let us hope that reason prevails and that the drums of war are never sounded.